Hello everyone. All right, couple things I forgot about warfarin. Sorry to bring you back here, but first I wanted to mention that warfarin is one of those things that was one of those medications that cannot be automatically substituted the brand name for generic. So with most medications, and as by law we're allowed to, if you as a practitioner write for a brand name, if a generic exists, we're automatically allowed to switch. And there's, because the generic medications are considered therapeutically equivalent by the FDA. Well, warfarin, Coumadin is not one of those medications. So there's levothyroxine, and Synthroid is another one we'll talk about later in the endocrine module. But it's also important to note that the Coumadin brand name and the generic warfarin are not, you're not allowed to interchange them because it can have a potentially negative effect on INR. And then there's another brand name of warfarin too. It's Jantoven, Jantoven is the other brand of that. So Jantoven cannot be substituted for Coumadin, which cannot be substituted for warfarin. So I wanted to mention that first. So sorry, I forgot to mention that before, but this is one of those rare drugs that you cannot automatically switch from brand name to the generic. The other thing I wanted to show you too, I forgot that there is a suggested protocol for initiating warfarin therapy, which I think is great for students, great for new practitioners. I found this on UpToDate, and I went under the atrial fibrillation anticoagulation therapy to prevent embolization. There they had a table that, if anyone wants this or can't find it, just email me and I'll get you that table directly. But this is a suggested protocol for initiating warfarin therapy. So it has the treatment goals here. And like I was saying, normal adults, you typically will start on 5 milligrams a day. And again, this is noting that the table assumes that a patient is started with an INR in a normal range, which a normal INR for everybody sitting in the classroom or wherever you guys are sitting, is 1.0. So that's considered a normal INR. And then if there is an elderly person with liver disease, malnourished, frail adult, you want to start on 2.5 one time a day. And then you want to then go on for dosing day 3 and beyond. So you want to give this for 2 days, 5 milligrams, 2 days. And then day 3, you're going to want to give these different strengths depending on their INR. So if the person comes back on day 3, they have an INR of 1.5 to 1.9, then your next dose would be anywhere from 2.5 to 5 milligrams. And so on and so forth. See, this is a way to start. You'll also see where there will be some recommendations based. So once you get a week or so of this therapy. Let me see something real quick. So I think this is a good protocol for initiating the warfarin therapy. You also will see nomograms. Here's a warfarin initiation nomogram. You may see these up in clinics or whatever. But again, assuming healthy adult, you start with, and they're not frail, they're not elderly, they don't have hepatic issues. You can start them at 5 milligrams for the first 2 days. And then you'll notice here that one quick note too about UpToDate, always read the fine print on here. They have really good stuff in the fine print on these UpToDate charts. But anyways, start with the 5 milligrams, and then you'll notice on day 3, depending on what their INR is, then you can dose accordingly. So if they have a low INR, you want to bump it up, go to 10. If they have a high INR, you want to hold the dose maybe. And this one too has a similar thing too. If it's too high of a dose, too high of an INR, by all means, please hold the dose. And then you'll go through and you'll get your 6-day and then you'll get your week dosing. So again, measuring the INR for the next few days will then give you a weekly dose for the patient. And then think back to what I showed you. They come in all those different strengths and different colors and everything. Then you try to make the weekly dosing as kind of convenient as possible for the patient. And then, so once they're on maintenance, here's another, these are adjustments of maintenance warfarin dosing. So this is, again, something that I think is good for new practitioners. But so once you get that week dose from that nomogram, then you test the patient again for their INR. And if they're in 2 to 3 and that's your goal, great, no changes. But then if they are too low, then you want to increase by 10%. So you you add up the number of milligrams they're on for that entire week, and then you'll multiply by 0.10, right, 10%, and then you'll subtract that. So you want to do a 10% reduction. I'm sorry, 10% increase if they have the INR is too low, but then you want to do a 10% reduction if their INR is too high, right? Because then they have too much anticoagulation, right? And then under that would be not enough anticoagulation. And you'll see these. So the goal for this INR is 2 to 3. You'll note from my other slides that depending on the condition of the patient, the cardiologist may set the INR at 2.5 to 3.5. So you would just, make adjustments kind of based on your goal, right? And then some of this fine print here, I'll read to make sure you guys can see. The maintenance dose algorithm requires that INR measurements are made at a maximum interval of every 4 weeks with at least weekly monitoring if the INR is out of range. And then all percent changes in warfarin dosing are adjusted based on current INR value and calculated based on the sum of the previous 7 days of warfarin dose, which I was saying to you, get that warfarin, milligrams of warfarin per week dose. And then the increase or decrease in warfarin dose per week is distributed over the following week and preferably as evenly as possible to avoid large fluctuations. So, and also that helps with compliance, etc. So, if they're going to be on 30 milligrams per week, then you want to, spread that out with the different strengths they make in a pretty even way so that they're not taking all of it on, in the beginning of the week or all of it at the end of the week. So anyways, I think these tables will help you guys. If you put this into the search on UpToDate, you should be able to find it. So adjustment of maintenance warfarin dosing. And then this one is the warfarin initiation nomogram. And then the first one I showed you was suggested protocol for initiating warfarin therapy. So that'll give you guys an idea, hopefully, to help when you're out in practice and stuff and trying to initiate these and then maintain patients when they're on warfarin. So feel free to email me if you have any questions, or again, if you're really struggling on trying to get these, or if you want them or whatever, I can get you these tables too. So, all right, thanks. And I promise this is the end. I don't think I forgot anything else about warfarin. All right, talk to you all later. Bye.